All right, diving right in today, going for a deep dive on something, I think is pretty cool.
Okay.
And it's a topic that comes from a blog post that you shared with me.
Right.
It was from March 22nd, 2025, and the title of it is Notes on Fishkeeping, Part 94, Yet Another Guppy Spawn.
Oh, very cool.
And this post is all about guppy fry that have been spotted in outdoor ponds.
Interesting.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is kind of take a look and see what's the story here with the guppy population and what's the approach that's happening with managing these ponds?
Yeah. I mean, when I first saw that, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like, just this backyard experiment. But then it's like, well, this is really how ecology works. you
Yeah.
know? And I think what this post really shows is, how introducing one species deliberately can really, change the whole environment.
Absolutely. And the first thing that really jumps out is that there's been another guppy spawn. Yeah, Eng, the author, spotted a bunch of tiny guppies when they were feeding. So, it's obvious that these guppies are reproducing.
Right.
They're doing their thing.
Yep.
They're establishing themselves in the ponds.
Yeah. And that goes back to, I think, what Eng was saying at the beginning.
Right.
The 5 pairs of guppies were put there on purpose to be like aquatic gardeners.
Right. Aquatic gardeners.
I love that.
I love that too.
Yeah.
So, and their job is to keep the aquatic plants under control, specifically the duckweed.
Yeah.
And anyone that's ever dealt with duckweed knows that stuff, it can get out of hand.
It can't.
So
Yeah.
fast.
It takes over.
It just blankets the whole surface of the water.
Totally.
But from what it sounds like, the guppies are doing their job.
They're doing a good job.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Aang even mentioned that they're diligently keeping the aquatic plants in check by nibbling away at them.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think this is such a cool example of biological control.
Oh, absolutely.
Using one organism to manage another. And I think that's a, natural and potentially sustainable approach.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, way better than using chemicals or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to add anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's like having a tiny cleanup crew in there.
Exactly.
One of the other things that I thought was interesting is that Aang raises a really interesting question in this post.
Okay.
How many guppy spawns have there been in
Oh.
total? And what's the overall population like now in these ponds? And I think that's a natural curiosity,
Right.
When you have an ecosystem like that, you just wonder, how much is it growing?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, they started with 10 guppies
Yeah,
and now they're outside. So who knows how many there are now.
it's a mystery.
Right. It's really hard to predict.
Right.
There's so many different factors,
Absolutely. And I think it goes to show, even in simple systems, things are always changing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And it's so dynamic. And I thought it was really cool that Aang was thinking about even tweaking things further.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the idea of reducing the feeding frequency
Right.
was mentioned in there. And, the hope is that if the guppies aren't getting fed as often,
Okay.
then they'll be more focused on the duckweed,
Oh, that makes sense.
right? So it's like this real-time little experiment happening.
That's really neat. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, I think the big takeaway here is that even just introducing, a few guppies
Yeah.
can have a huge impact on the environment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's really cool that, it's like a long-term solution potentially for managing the pond plants. And, the big aha moment for me was like, wow, you can actually use nature to solve a common problem.
Absolutely. And I think the thing to remember is, these ecosystems are all connected.
Right.
You put the guppies in, and that changes the plants.
Right.
And who knows, maybe it's even changing other things in the pond, too, that we don't even know about.
Right. So to do a quick recap,
Okay.
we've learned that there's another guppy spawn, which means that the guppy population is doing really well.
Right?
And they're there for a reason to keep that duckweed in check. And now there might be some future adjustments to their feeding
Yep.
to see if we can even improve that natural control.
Exactly.
So as a final thought, think about this. Even small changes in an environment, like, adding a species
Okay.
or changing feeding patterns can have really big ecological impacts.
Yeah.
And this is even just in a small pond.
Right. Imagine a whole lake or an ocean.
What other unexpected biological solutions might be out there,
Exactly.
in the bigger ecosystems around us?
That's a great question to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.